Now, when your children are surfing the internet, do you have any idea what they're up to? And if you did know which sites they were on, would you understand them? Well, more and more parents are signing up for social networking sites to keep tabs on who their kids are talking to. Stephanie Booth is an expert on the internet and blogging and advises parents and children on how they can network on the web. So is your advice then, Stephanie, thanks for coming in, that parents should get more up to date, or they should step back from the technology and just ask their kids?
Well, I think that parents need to keep up to date, but by communicating with their kids. So I think that they are not very familiar with the internet. Maybe they need a tourist guide to show them what all this new world is about. And in some cases, the kids can play this role. And probably snooping up behind their kids is, for me, a kind of last resort thing to do when communication is broken down.
But I guess kids throughout the generations have always needed to keep secrets from their parents.
That's
and the
true.
idea that they might guide them willingly through the web is slightly unrealistic, isn't it?
Well, I think there are two things. There's the world of the web, and then there's the keeping secrets part. So obviously, as you say, kids have always kept secrets from their parents. They always have they have a right to a certain amount of privacy. But maybe there are places on the internet which are not private. For example, kids often have blogs in public spaces, not necessarily on Facebook, and they don't realize that it's a public space. So in that case, I think it's normal that they should be aware that their parents can come and visit these.
What about the sort of natural response of parents would be to sort of block certain sites or try and stop their children from entering? I mean, is this A, realistic, and B, worth it?
Well, I think that things like filters prevent accidents. So it will prevent your 8-year-old from stumbling upon a porn site when you hadn't intended to. Filters not going to stop a teenager who is motivated in finding sites you would want to keep them away from. So
I mean, it's the chat room scenario, presumably, that parents are most worried about, right? That you don't know who's actually talking to your teenager, and they think it's another teenager.
Well,
and
that's
it really
actually a kind of a fake problem, because the whole predators on the internet thing is really overblown. And actually, most cases of teenagers meeting adults on the internet and then having affairs with them, in most of the cases, actually, they knew they were talking to adults. We only have a very small percentage of cases where we have... But
you call it a fake problem. It's still a problem, isn't it? If a kid's meeting adults and going out on dates with somebody, whether they...
It is, but it is not because the adult hid behind the nickname of a teenager and pretended to be somebody else. So the problem is a bit different than what people imagine in chat rooms.
I see. OK, Stephanie Booth, thanks very much for coming in. Thank you.
You're welcome.